This is a shadow card reading with Nicole Ford and Dr. Mortonette Stevens. I am going to refresh your memory as to what a shadow journey is, Nicole. And it is a psychological tool that allows you to see, interact with, and alter different things or judgments that are going on in your subconscious mind. The subconscious region is your life survival mechanism, and whatever is in there is what your book of law, so to speak, or the truth of your life is. It protects you, it keeps everything in line with what it has in there. So, a lot of times these beliefs are things that you have accepted by default. You did not make any decision to accept them because they generally come in from the womb to the age of 6 before any filter of your own is there to filter out certain things and things like that. Then even when it's time for the filter to come in, because you've already been programmed with a certain way to focus and look at life, you still look at life the way that those beliefs are in there. So these will let you know which beliefs perhaps are stopping you from doing something or feeling a certain way or moving forward or just having a revelation within yourself as to what's going on. And then you can make choices to either alter them, because none of it's bad. It's just that it may not be serving you with your choices now. Okay? And so we will proceed on. Right here, right now, right where we are, we know that God is right here. And I am asking that the infusion of wisdom and the understanding to relate the information, discern it, and to allow Nicole to have a revelation within her own beingness as to what is going on with the information that she receives from her subconscious region. May this shadow journey reveal to her whatever it is that she needs to know, wants to know, and would like to know about whatever's going on in her life choices. So, I give thanks to you, shadow cards, that you always are such a tool of inspiration and information, and I surrender right now and ask that I be used as an instrument for facilitating this wonderful journey for Nicole. And so I know that my words are always a power and a force, and I project that a wonderful revelation shall come from this journey. And I know that my asking is always received and supported. And so I give thanks that my words are always, just taken in and answered. So I let that be so, and we shall proceed on. Okay. All right. So now, what is it that you would like to know about?
I would like for the shadow cards to tell me what I want to know. Because I don't have any specific thing.
That's fine. Just want them to take you on a journey.
Right.
Okay, pick a large and small card.
Okay. And I want to take pictures of the cards.
You can.
Okay. I'll take this one. Large. And again. It's the third time I've gotten this card. Oh my God. Okay. Go ahead.
What does that card mean to you?
Well,
I can't see them from here, so.
Oh.
Okay.
So you're waiting for me? What does this card mean to me?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what this card has come up for me in the past is it always seems to symbolize to me a father playing with the child, and then there's a child being left out of the play.
Mm-hmm.
And so last time that I pulled this card, the surrounding card around it was validation. And it was related to it, or what I surmised it to be, or determined it to be, was related to issues that I had to work through between me and my father. And I feel like I did, a lot of exploration in that area over the last year. So.
And how do you feel about that?
I feel really good about that. I feel really, like, I think that because of my father and the circumstance of him dying so suddenly or being killed so violently and abruptly, just kind of disappearing from my life, that there was a part of me that was frozen with that particular thing happening, and that I had a failure to see what issues could be underneath my relationship with my father. And so I had just this thing where I was idealizing my father, but not actually looking at our relationship from an adult perspective. And so I feel good about the work that I've done in exploring that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you do realize that by you being a child at the time, there would be no possible way for you to view it as an adult.
Exactly.
So this card could be at this time representing that you are rejecting the idea of being left out.
Mm-hmm.
That's no longer, the shadow cards may be telling you that, you've rejected that whole thing now. It's like, that's not an issue with you anymore.
Good. Because I was thinking that. I was like, come on, are you kidding me still? You know what I mean? So I'm glad that you're saying that, because I'm like, no, I feel like I've really worked it all out, But
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like, rather than feeling left out,
Yeah.
you reject that idea of
Right.
being left out.
Right.
You see the situation from an adult's point of view, and you're able to interact and have a really healthy remembrance of a relationship with that whole thing. You're no longer frozen.
Right.
In other words, they're telling you, there has been a rejection of feeling left out and not being a part of and all that.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Okay.
Okay.
So now let's see. Here it says the same thing, playing ball with the inner child.
Mm-hmm.
You've dealt with that feeling left out. You're rejecting that. Who is catching, who is throwing, that really doesn't matter at this point, because you are in control of your life. But it says, what do I need to play with?
Mm.
And that's kind of what you've been asking yourself, like, what do I need to do this? Do I want to do that?
Right.
So now pull a large and small card to see what it is you really, from within, want to be doing.
Okay. Ooh, stiff. That's a new one. Okay. What is that? Can you see it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what does that mean to you?
Oh, Lord. This has got to be a sex thing.
Is that what you think?
I don't know. It's stiff, and then there's a man on the beach.
Okay.
Which is funny. And you said, what do I need to play with? Apparently I need to play with the man and his stiffness on the beach.
Wow.
Wow. That's funny. Okay, so anyways, let me see what else this has on here. I don't know, just the man on the beach. There's another kid with a surfboard. A lady laying in the back in a bikini on a towel. But I don't know.
Now, this is a card of hesitation.
It is?
Yes.
This picture card is a card of hesitation?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You see, he's at the water's edge, and one foot is going in, and one foot is staying on the sand. You see, he's testing the waters.
Okay.
And the waters always represent emotion. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So what part of me is going in? What part of me is holding back?
Okay.
Okay? So it is like, what do I want to play with? It's like, perhaps because those other cards kind of fell out, you are secretly toiling inside yourself of getting involved or something.
Okay.
Or thinking about, well, will I be safe if I get involved? You know, what's going to happen if I open myself up and really go for the enjoyment of all these things? So you're kind of stiff about it.
Okay.
So you're kind of hesitant about really giving yourself the permission to full on open up your heart, to full on get a lover, to full on do these things.
Right.
Now, I don't know, maybe you already have that going on, but I'm just saying, there's a part of you, seemingly based on this, that's hesitant about really participating, really going into the emotion of what love is, or what having a lover is, or these kind of things, you know.
Right.
The other card could also be tying in with that one. It's like rejecting being left out. If I just don't play at all, I won't be left out.
Oh, I see.
Do you see what I mean?
Right.
And because both of them have the emotion in there. The man is in the blue, so the man is representing emotion. And there's the nice blue sky. Then there's the safetiness of the green grass where the person is sitting. Seems to be a little black girl.
Mm-hmm.
And then over here you got the man getting ready to touch into the water, but the sand is dry. The sand is emotionless, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the blue sky, and then you got the water. So all these emotions are there. And you're in activity.
Mm-hmm.
Both cards represent activity. But in both cards, there is not a full participation in whatever activity is going on.
I see. Okay.
Okay. So we might want to ask, what part of you is holding back? Pull a large and small card.
Okay. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Take a picture.
Mm-hmm.
It says conceal. This is a cemetery?
Graveyard.
Graveyard. Graveyard. Okay.
Okay.
Part of me is holding back.
But we want to know, what part of you is holding back? Is a part of you that's still attached to loving someone very deeply, and then death coming into the picture.
Mm-hmm.
And the sadness, there's death of an issue but not completely buried. Open grave, death opens sadness, letting something have a new life. It's like, what is the birth from the death? You see what I mean? It's like a part of you has accepted and moving on.
Right.
But then when it comes to getting to that heart, that's when the wall comes up because of the fear of maybe loving like that again and then something happening.
That could be.
I mean, that's what it's saying. That's what
Right,
that's
right.
what's hidden in here that you're not consciously aware of.
Right.
That's at play.
Right, right.
And that thought can be the thought that's holding you from allowing yourself to have, a full-on loving experience of sharing of your emotions
Right.
without a nagging thought in the back of fear of something going wrong or it ending if you open up or just different
Yeah.
things like that.
That makes sense.
It does.
Yeah. Well, it actually makes sense in everything, not just in because to me it's almost all together
Mm-hmm.
in the sense that if I play in this full out way and open myself up completely and expose myself completely, which to me is related to relationship, but also just myself in opening up to the world.
Mm-hmm.
That what could happen, like could it mean the death of me, could it like what could happen, like the fear of that, I think could be, I don't know that it was that hidden, but I know that that could be a debilitating thing for me personally, is what could happen to me if I really play and expose myself to the world, not just to a lover but to everybody.
Mm-hmm. So the thought or the fear is in really living.
Yeah.
Living full on.
Right.
So if you
full on as myself, like just fully.
Well, now there would be a death that would occur, and that would be the death of the person that would not allow you to live full on.
Right.
That part of you would be sort of like a death.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing.
Right.
Because, when you put a seed in the ground and it disappears, it has sort of like a death process because,
Right.
it has to transform itself into a whole nother thing, a metamorph into another kind of thing. So now it's no longer seed, but now that's right.
Right.
So it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's how you're perceiving it.
Right.
If you perceive it, it's okay for the Nicole that I knew to no longer be, and there's a Nicole that lives full out in joy.
Mm-hmm.
And allows herself to go from glory to glory. It doesn't have to be from glory to bad.
Right.
Glory bad.
Right.
Because it makes you afraid to have to experience the glory if you feel like something bad has to happen because of it.
Right.
Now, that is that belief in duality that has been programmed into the collective mindset of most people here on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
That this good and bad.
Mm-hmm.
But really and truly, if God is all there is, if God is the creator of all things, then nothing is bad.
Mm-hmm.
You see? And what I learned when I was going through my process is that anything that we have a judgment on, that the judgment is not a correct one, that it is what it is and is perfect unto itself.
Mm-hmm.
If I say sickness is bad, well then I'm saying, sickness is being sickness. So why am I saying it's bad?
Mm-hmm.
It's being what it is.
Right.
I can't even experience it unless I tune myself into it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I mean?
Right.
And then to take it a little further, if God is all there is, then there's only God and there's only health, really, at different degrees. Now, when it's down at this degree, where you're in pain and suffering and things like that, societal, our educational system, how we look at things collectively on this planet, says that that's sickness.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not sickness, it's just health at a certain degree.
Right.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
Then, as you see yourself in a state of health, but needing more health instead of being sick,
Mm-hmm.
it shifts the energy, it shifts the whole experience. You know that you are healthy at all times. And you can experience more and more health by acknowledging the health that you are, instead of creating a battle
With the sickness.
of something that doesn't even really exist.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see? So it's a thought that you're having about living full on, that, well, if I do that, the other side of that is, but is there really an other side of it? It doesn't have to be.
Only if I create it.
Yes, and people do it all the time. They
Right.
create it by feeling like they have to,
Yeah.
and it's done unto you as you believe.
Right.
So if you believe that if I'm feeling good, then something's got to happen over here to balance that out. Well, no. Feeling good is your destined favor from your Creator. That's the gift. This life is a gift.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something to be afraid of or to not allow. But we have been taught that because we've been taught to fear things.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how people gain control over you.
Right.
And the media and just people in their conversations, because they've all been bamboozled into thinking that they need to think this way, and then if they don't think this way, they're not responsible. That's
Right.
another thing. If you don't listen to the horrifying news, then you're not a responsible adult.
Right.
If you don't let us scare you every day, then you're not being responsible.
Yeah.
Because then you'll start creating your own reality outside of what we need you to create. Because you see, we have these advertisements on here.
Right.
We need you to buy these products.
Right.
And you can only buy these products if you're afraid that if you don't buy this product, this is going to happen to you.
Right.
Okay? So you might want to consider looking at that particular thought, seeing it as perfect unto itself,
Mm-hmm.
and deciding what your preference is. And whatever your preference is, know that you have a choice to choose that preference. That's what the polarity thing is all about. Allowing choices, allowing your preferences to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've taught you the this day, right? This
Yes,
day
this
I have
day
always been,
right.
and that is what? An external hard drive into your computer,
Mm-hmm.
because you cannot go against this. But you can create a different reality construct for yourself by speaking something different into being and letting your attention be on that. And then what happens is your life energy and everything flows and creates that for you.
Right.
And it doesn't run that program over here.
Mm-hmm.
See, those programs are going to run, you don't have to think about them. They're going to run.
Mm-hmm.
So when you stay in the present moment and you are creating in the present, then wherever your attention is, whatever you're choosing, that's what program starts running.
Right.
Okay? So that's just, that whole idea has been, I think, concealed from your conscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you really, were thinking about the reason why you may not feel safe to live full on.
Mm-hmm.
But they're letting you know that the reason why that feeling is in there is because you were thinking that, okay, well then I might die. Or death coming there some kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
Or it has to, some bad has to happen. Because generally people view death as something that's hurtful and bad and
Right.
they don't want to experience.
Right.
So that's the underlying thought that has been there. Okay?
Yeah. Makes sense.
Okay. So you have an opportunity to consciously choose something different. Why am I happy and safe when I live full on?
Right.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
Say it
Why am I happy and safe when I live full on?
one more time.
Why am I happy and safe when I live full on?
Take a deep breath. Say it again.
Why am I happy and safe when I live full on?
Now, did you get the picture?
No, but
Well, reword it until you get a picture of you seeing yourself happy and safe living full on.
Right. I have a picture now.
Okay?
I've got it.
Mm-hmm. Now remember, when you're doing a righteous prayer, the idea is to allow your asking to be as if it has already happened. You're asking, believing that it's already done. So you form the question in a way that's going to actually form the picture in your mind. As you're saying it, you're actually being able to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I so happy? Then there should be a picture of yourself being happy in your mind's eye. Why do I feel so safe?
Right.
Why do I feel it's natural to just go from happiness to happiness to happiness? You know, there are infinite levels of emotional experiences. And what is an emotion? It's energy in motion. So you're allowing the energy of that particular thought, that particular belief, because a belief is just an agreement.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a fact. It's something that you agree to be so. That's why you can experience whatsoever you desire, because you're only limited to your own vision. You're only limited to what you will allow yourself to allow.
Mm-hmm.
Now, most of the time, because of the subconscious programs that are in there, we will only, we see life based on a certain thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like most people will see a skull and they immediately think of poison and death and bad stuff. But is a skull poison?
Like if
Really?
you're a doctor, you would see it totally differently. Like
I'm just saying,
depending on your
a skull
perspective.
itself is
Right.
a skull.
Right.
It's bone,
Right.
and it's the shape of a person's head.
Right.
But they have attached symbolism onto that
Mm-hmm.
that represents to us as negativity
Right.
or something that's bad. So as you start releasing yourself from being inside that box
Yeah.
that someone has told you this symbol represents this, it does not have to represent that to you.
Right.
And you will have a different experience from it. When we buy into all of those things, that's what happens. We start having the experience of what we've accepted.
Right.
And most of the time, the things we accept, we haven't examined whether or not we really even believe that that makes any logical sense. It may not even have a reasoning to it that we would accept if we took the time to look at it.
Examine it. Right.
Okay? So, what is the birth from death? What is the what do you think you're getting out of this understanding that you're having right now?
That's what I'm asking the shadow cards.
Mm-hmm. A large or small card.
Okay. What is the birth from death? Is this what we're asking? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
What is the birth from death?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, this is a new one. I don't know what that is.
We'll take time to look at it.
Well, this looks like a tree, and this looks like a bush if I have it correct. But then, I don't know what this round thing is in the middle. Unless it's a snapshot of the tree. And a hole in the tree, but I don't know. Am I looking at it correctly? Does it go this way?
Well,
is
keep
it?
turning and looking and
Oh, is it a nest?
mm-hmm. See how long it took you to turn the card in a different direction?
Yeah.
You kept keeping it up in the oval as if it had to reveal itself from that position.
Correct. So this looks like the ground over here.
Okay.
So I guess that's why I was looking at it that way. But then when you look at it this way, it looks like a nest.
Mm-hmm.
So the ego and nest in a tree in a bush.
Well, this card represents empty nest
Oh,
or an empty nest,
okay.
like leaving the home, feeling abandoned, filling it up, a nest egg or security is ready to be filled. How can I nestle in myself?
Okay.
So you're at a point now where you're ready to release some of those ideas, those issues that haven't quite been buried yet, and choose another way. Fill up your nest egg, fill your empty nest, fill it with ideas and thoughts and activities that will be nourishing and safe for you.
What does the ego part mean?
Ego. Ego represents the conscious mind's belief system.
The conscious mind's beliefs, not even the subconscious mind.
Because you see, the subconscious mind, it doesn't think.
Oh,
It
this
just
does.
it just takes in whatever you say is true.
Okay.
Whatever you accept is true, it says okay.
Okay.
The conscious mind is the one that's the free thinking. It's a free thinking mechanism that allows you to have an unlimited thought, that allows you to think something different than you've ever thought before. So you're ready to, use that to create security for yourself, to create a nest egg, to create a way that you feel safe and secure place to be within yourself, like nestling within the self, without the fear of the abandonment, without the fear of if I do feel all these things, then I'm going to be alone and die and all this stuff, you see?
So this was what is the birth, right? What is being born?
From understanding that thought.
Okay. And this is what's being born from that.
Yeah, you're able to look at the ego and understand that the ego is just, let's say, a menagerie of thoughts that you accepted,
Yeah.
and they're creating these beliefs by the acceptance, and by being done unto you as you believe, you're experiencing what the ego is taking in.
I see. Cool.
When the mind of you tells the ego what it's going to do, once you get in touch with that, you know how they say higher self?
Mm-hmm.
See, the higher self is connected to the one mind. It said something, I think it was John or was it Paul? I don't know, one of those apostles in the Bible. I know you don't get into the Bible, but he was saying that have the same mind which was in Christ Jesus. And Jesus always said, I don't do these things, the Father within me does these things. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's giving us a clue that Jesus wasn't doing it. He was using the one mind. He was connecting into the one mind and allowing his thoughts to be in alignment with the one mind's truth. So now, what is the truth of life? That is all abundance everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about the deficit and the budget, and they don't have this, and this is bad. And then you got these people with trillions of dollars over here, and they got trillions of dollars over here, and the politicians running for office, they're spending millions of dollars on their campaign. They could take that and put it into their communities and have the school systems working, but no, they're closing the school system down. Why? Because they need that money to run the campaign. So there's no lack or scarcity.
Right.
There's a programming of it. But that's not the truth. So if you align your mind where the truth is, that there's infinite opulence and supply everywhere at all times, there's absolute joy and happiness. All those things are the natural energies of this biological system, minus the man-made programming.
Oh, you are everywhere here. Nicole, how many Nicoles are here?